So, I'm going to talk a little about tools today. A week or two ago, I was watching a video. Uh, Prominent YouTuber, guy's a good mechanic and definitely a better businessman than I am. And he works on a lot nicer stuff than I ever did. He was talking about tools you needed either if you were starting a shop or like at home. I didn't disagree with him. Everything he pointed out was fine and dandy. Something though has been eating at me, and I don't really know why. Um, but one of the tools you mentioned was an impact gun. Obviously, you need a half-inch drive impact gun. You just do. And he was really harping on cordless. I personally, I don't care. I don't build them. I don't sell them. I don't care. Uh, And he also was talking about how he hasn't had to turn his air compressor on, and sometimes he runs it once a month, which I guess that means he has a nitrogen system in his shop, or he just never checks and adjusts tire pressure for people. It doesn't matter. Um, but I kind of disagree with him on the impact gun choice, and so I'm in my mid 40s now. I have been a professional mechanic at some level for over 20 years, and I've been working on cars most all my life. I did not always have a pneumatic impact gun, especially for personal use. I just couldn't afford or didn't have the place for a compressor big enough to run a pneumatic impact gun. A lot of times, especially when I was right out of high school, 17, 18, I had a little like 110, 15-gallon air compressor that was a hand-me-down, and it was good for filling up tires, but it wasn't good for much anything else. And so my first real impact gun, which I actually have, I laid out all three of my impact guns, at least all three of my half-inch ones. My first one was a corded DeWalt. I've still got it. Never even had to put brushes in it, and still runs great. I think I got it at a pawn shop, and that was for personal use. When I went into doing mechanicking professionally, I bought a pneumatic gun. I bought an Ingersoll Rand pneumatic gun, which still have that too. I have rebuilt the pneumatic gun once. I have put one kit in it, and now I also have a cordless half-inch impact gun as well. Now, in the time that I've been, I guess in the time that I've been alive, I've seen cordless tools, cordless tool battery technology, cordless tool battery systems change, half a dozen times, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. At least from the time that I got out of really being involved in it. About the last 6 years of the shop that I worked at, I transferred away from general mechanicking into tool and equipment. I was running a tool room. I had already been spending a few years doing tool and equipment repair on pumps, large equipment, portable and stationary, pneumatic and hydraulic systems, things like that. And it was an easy transfer for me. There was a lot of stuff going on. There were a lot of reasons. Everybody has different experiences with their own jobs, but it was a good move for me to get out of the repair shop and into running the tool room and doing tool and equipment repair as a primary job and not a secondary job. I can say that when I did that, I transferred a lot of stuff over. The previous guy hadn't taken care of things, so I updated, and we went with Milwaukee. That was just what the majority of the employees and everything. I gave them a list. I was like, here, who wants what? These are the big brands that we have access to. What do you want me to buy? And Milwaukee just got the most tick marks on the sheet of paper. It was that easy. Personally, with experience down the road from that point, by the time that 6 years was coming to an end, I had a better experience and better help. Just, yeah, better experience with the Hilti company overall. And I would have preferred to have gone in with Hilti just full bore. But like I say, when I got into there, I really didn't have a good experience with Hilti within using not necessarily their tools, but with the rep and things of that nature. The guy that we had before he retired or quit or whatever he did, you never got a hold of him. He just wasn't good to deal with. Anyway, we're not talking about companies. I'm just rambling. What I did notice though was a lot of times the guys wanted cordless tools, but did not apply them in a correct understanding. You can get into duty cycles and stuff like that, and we were running Milwaukee. Was it Milwaukee Fuel 18-volt stuff? And it wasn't uncommon on a week-to-week basis for guys to bring battery packs back that would no longer charge because they had gotten them wet or run them over with the trucks, crushed them. We had a couple of guys that, grinders especially, a couple of guys would literally melt battery packs. They would get the battery packs so hot that in 2 cases they distorted the plastic, but in multiple cases they were uncomfortable to touch. And they had driven from the job site back to the tool room to turn them in, and they were still hot enough to be uncomfortable to hold. They didn't burn you at this point, but they were uncomfortable to touch. So there was a lot of misunderstanding as to when to use what kind of tool or how long to use it or things of that nature. And subsequently, we had a lot of issues with cordless tools that you just didn't see. And I think, and I want to talk about that a little bit, but I want to show what I got and just talk about it. Let's see here. Camera. And what do we got? Okay. So these are my 3. And honestly, I'm not a DeWalt fanboy. These were just the best this is what I could afford and what I liked and what was good. Like this one, I'm pretty sure I picked up at a pawn shop, and I've had it 20 years at this point, 18 years. I don't know. I have not needed to put a set of brushes in it, but brushes are still available. They're inexpensive, and I don't use it. This one sits in a cabinet, and it's a backup to a backup to a backup. These 2 I do rotate through regularly. This one's my oldest. It has damage. It is used and worn, but I've only ever put 1 rebuild kit in it. And honestly, when I took it apart, it really didn't need to be rebuilt, but it was a situation in the shop, and there was a peeing contest, so I volunteered up my stuff just to get the contest shut down. I wasn't even part of the contest. It just was the situation. There was always somebody trying to say that they were bigger and badder. And then we got this guy. 20 volt, DeWalt, cordless. It works. It gets the job done. Is this one brushless? Brushless. Yep, this one's brushless. Now, on to these 2. So, like, if you got to buy brushes for these, brushes are usually less than, I don't know, $20. But that's the primary thing that goes wrong unless you're just real crazy and you break the head on it. Damage the anvil inside. So I will not speak of repairing the DeWalt. Pretend this is a Milwaukee. Let's get this guy out of the way. Pretend it's Milwaukee, because I did have to service those tools being in that tool room. Now, when we bought our Milwaukees, I bought the big boy ones. I don't remember the exact specs on them, but it was the heavy duty 1/2-inch stuff. Most torque you can get. we had a few incidents where they needed to be repaired. Now, I had been repairing tools for a while, and in most circumstances, again, the guys either broke the anvils in the head or, they got it wet or whatever, and you had to get the corrosion out of it. Sometimes you needed to put brushes in them. So we go to this new technology, remember, pretending Milwaukee. I bought bare tools. So initially, I would generally buy the combo pack. You get the tool, the charger, and 2 batteries in the case. So then I would buy bare tools after I had to rebuild 2 of them, and this is specifically brushless Milwaukee tools. Okay, let me just make sure everybody understands. I'm not talking about the brushed. I'm not talking about anything else. This was Milwaukee brushless 18 volt. One was a grinder, and one was the first one I did was a 1/2 inch impact. Because of the way that they do their brushless technology, and I'm sure other companies are the same, the electronics are all one piece. And it ran me, I want to say we paid like somewhere between $320 and $350 for the rebuild, for the electronics package to fix that impact gun. A new bare tool was like $375, $400. So there wasn't much difference. So after I rebuilt that one, I just never did it again, and I chucked them. I would throw them out, and I just bought bare tools and replaced them with bare tools, because by the time you get, you calculate a little bit of time in to take the tool apart, get the bad piece out, put the right piece in, and initially, you had to take the time. You were down the tool anyway because you had to take the time to order it. We didn't have them sitting on stock at that point. And you had to wait for their like back order stuff, and you had to do this, that, and the other. So there was a lot of dead time, and it just didn't work out between paying me to tear it down and replace it and buying the component. It was just cheaper to buy a bare tool and swap them one for one. Now, onto this one. This tool, I don't know what they sell for. I know exactly what I paid for this. This was the first impact gun that I bought. I paid $250 for it at Northern Tool. Again, that we're talking 20 years ago. I don't know how much it costs. But I did recently look up and the rebuild kit just to make sure I had a fresh idea in my head. You can get a rebuild kit for this for, now that's not an anvil or anything. It's the vane and the seals and the wear parts, the real wear parts. The rebuild kit for this is $25. Now, I saw, that's the average. I've seen it as low as 19, as high as 40, so $25. This tool will essentially last forever, and at $25 to rebuild it, you're never going to go wrong. Buy the tool, buy a rebuild kit, and you will have one tool for the rest of your life. This tool is going to last until something happens. A circuit fries, because it's circuit card in there. You're going to have failures. You're going to have issues. And then you're going to have to go buy a new one. Or, like I've seen time and time again, the battery technology changes. And while, yes, DeWalt was pretty good about that stem adapter for their 18 volt over to the new 20 volt slide-on battery, not every manufacturer does that, and it doesn't always work. So when the battery technology changes, they tend to change the battery hookup style, and you're left with a tool that's void. Doesn't matter how good it is, the batteries go bad after a while. They only charge and discharge so much, and it's just a case. This guy, kind of the same thing. Eventually, one day, I won't be able to get parts for it, and it'll have to go in a can. But for the time being, it's a great backup. Now, where do all these tools have advantages and disadvantages? Big air compressors are expensive. No lie, they just are. And not everybody has the space for one. Not everybody wants one. Not everybody has a need for one. So what I had done for the longest time was I ran this guy, and I had a little compressor. Actually, it was given to me. A buddy of mine found it on the road. It was a really nice shape Craftsman stand-up 30-gallon with an oilless compressor on it. And it cost me like $45 to rebuild the compressor because I guess the compressor had overheated and busted a ring or something in it. But I bought a rebuild kit for like $45, put it back together, and I had that thing for years until I passed it on to the next person that needed it. Wouldn't really do pneumatic tools very well, but it did perfect for airing up tires and just little things, you know. And this gun worked great in that scenario. It is an excellent, excellent option. A corded impact gun is a fine option. This is my most recent purchase, and I mainly got it because I knew there was going to be a time where I was going to be in between being able to run certain things. So I bought it, I got it, and I love DeWalt wall. I got really good pricing on everything, and I needed to update my stuff, so that's just what I went with. I think that the cordless are good in a limited use situation because of the expense, because of their expense just in general, and because of the fragility of it. You know, think about modern cars. The more electronics you get in it, the more chances there are for minor component failure or something like that that causes highly expensive repairs needing to be done. In the case of a lot of this stuff, you know, you just are replacing a tool. So I think it's a good backup. I think it's a good one to use just occasionally. Well, not even occasionally. You can use it as your primary tool. I don't think there's anything wrong with using it as your primary tool, but be of a mindset that the harder you are on this tool, the more you work the tool instead of letting the tool work, the less respect you have for the tool. I mean, you can see my stuff's relatively clean. Yeah, this guy's dirty, but it was dirty when I bought it used. I bought it used. I bought it at a pawn shop. Like I said, that was over 20 years ago. Wipe them down. Clean them up. Don't get them wet. Don't drop them on the ground. Don't throw them at the guy that's pissing you off across the shop. Whereas this tool is going to be like your grandfather or great-grandfather's 1948 Packard. You will be able to hit a bull moose with it, put the bull moose in the back of it, and drive it home and keep on keeping on. It's just the way it is. I feel that these are a better investment overall. But let's be realistic here. If you have a small garage space, if you do not have the need for a compressor big enough to run pneumatic tools, if you are just starting out and you have not invested in a fleet of pneumatic tools because you're working in a reasonably sized shop with a big compressor and things like that, don't go this route. Okay? I think you should, if you're in it for the long haul and longevity, don't go pneumatic unless you're prepared to do pneumatic. Unless you are just full tilt into doing pneumatic. Go electric. The thing that I will stress, though, with electric, understand that there is a usage difference between a corded electric tool and a cordless electric tool. There just is. My primary grinders, I got one down, but my primary grinders are all corded grinders. My portaband is a corded portaband. My metal snipper is a corded metal snipper. Now, I do have I don't know if anybody can see it. I got some glare. I got a cordless grinder. I got a cordless recip saw. I got a cordless hammer drill, a cordless circular saw. I have corded versions of all those tools. And depending on how much job I plan on doing and how much usage I plan on putting in those through, I will use them accordingly. I would be the first one to tell you, if you're doing much with that cordless grinder, you are eating batteries. I mean, you're not like destroying the batteries, but you're swapping them through the charge, even the 4 amp hour ones. You're swapping them out quite repeatedly. Whereas if I just hook up one of those, I'm good. And I am sorry about shaky cam. I guess I ought to sit this down. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry. I know. Doing that Chris Fix impression. But yeah, know that there's a difference. Know that there's a time and a place. I think all three of these, all of them, they all have, there's a time and a place and there's a usage. You have to fit what you think you need and what's going to fit you best. I think in the long haul, a guy who's going to invest in his mechanicking ability and being in a shop for a long time or having a dedicated house shop, I think pneumatic's the way to go. Maybe I'm old, but that's from experience running a tool room for a facility that had multiple different types of mechanics. So automotive, heavy truck, forklift, pipe fitters, welders, metal fitters, AC mechanics, electricians, a variety of things and people and usage, and a huge variety of understanding of usage. Everybody, face it, I know how to do my job. Shut the hell up. That's what it boils down to, right? Everybody's the smartest toilet in the turd. But it really does come down to that. Use what is going to benefit you the most in your situation. If you're just starting out and you're going into a private shop, you're going to be working for somebody, whether it's a dealership or small shop or something along those lines, then you probably want either pneumatic or cordless. If you're just looking to be a hobbyist at home, I know extension cords are problematic. Everybody and their brother can't walk without falling over one for some reason, even though we managed to accomplish this feat for 60 or 70 years. A corded, especially if you're on a budget, a good corded is going to last you 100 times longer than a good cordless. I know Harbor Freight has come a long way. Everybody seems to really like the, what is it? I don't know their lines, but the red and black one that they've got, everybody seems to really like that. If that's what you want, go get it. Do it. But, when you're doing this stuff, just be mindful of how you're going to use it, the conditions you're going to be working in. If you're going to be a service mechanic, if you're going to be out on the road, rolling in the gravel, under stuff, and in the rain, and the snow, and the ice, if they're not going to put a compressor on your truck, or if you're not going to invest in a decent compressor to put on your truck because you're going, if you're doing your own business, then you're limited to cordless more than likely, because you probably won't have a decent generator up there either, and you might not want to run the decent generator even if you do. You're going to be limited to cordless, and just be aware they are not happy with certain things in certain situations. Heck, inside this garage, when we had a cold snap a few weeks back, about 3 weeks ago, where it didn't get out of the 20s in any day. Those are highs. It didn't get out of the 20s. And this is an uninsulated garage. My lithium ion batteries were not happy. They were highly upset. That's just stuff to keep in mind. This guy, unless you literally fill it up full of water and let it freeze, it ain't gonna care if it's 150 outside or if it's 150 below outside. Um, so it's just something. It's something to be mindful of. It's something to be just to be aware of, and to some extent, I, I guess it's kind of hippy dippy. But look, buy once, have forever is a lot better mentality than buy it and have to change it every 6 months. Look at the direction the car industry, from a manufacturing standpoint, is going. Look at how unrepairable things are getting. Planned obsolescence is real. Just, just don't just listen to somebody on the internet, and but at the same time, do what you have to do for it to be right for you. Um, that's all I can say. I rambled. I probably should have. One day, I might like get smart and script out or something. I doubt it. Probably never. But yeah, you might not always have a variety like I do, but if you can, variety is the spice of life, and it helps out. And just you know, be a little cool, be a little smart. Um, and don't be like the guys I worked with where, the batteries are melting in their hands because they're probably about ready to explode. No, that's not cool. I doubt seriously you want your grinder blowing up in your hands. That's probably not good for your health. So everybody get out, have fun, take it easy.